Why is fame so infamous? Or infamous? Stay tuned and we'll talk all about it.
Shavinism.
Hi guys, my name is Yaron Shavit and welcome to Shavinism. It is Monday, so we're doing a discussion topic as opposed to Thursday's comedy and characters. If you are new to the channel, willkommen! I hope you engage in the discussion. So today I want to talk about fame. I'm gonna live forever. Light up the sky like a flame. Fame. I will only refer in the discussion only to fame for the right reasons. I'm not talking about the girl who shot her husband to be a viral video, nothing like that. I'm talking about being famous for a talent you have or for being very successful in what you do. Now the reason I wanted to discuss this is because I've spoken to a lot of actors and YouTubers and I see Facebook groups and posts and people saying they don't want fame, which I find very strange for people who make a choice to put themselves in the public eye. Their career choice is to put themselves out there and try to have people watch what they do. You're putting yourself out there to be seen by as many people as possible. And I think fame is a byproduct of that. The more people see you, the more famous you are. That's sort of my deduction. I've always wondered personally if people who say this are just scared to dream big, or lowering expectations, or maybe there's a fear of success, or if people are just scared of the byproduct of fame. So they might be scared of being in the public eye all the time, losing the privacy, having a lot of gossip around them, and having to verify facts that may or may not be true all the time, and losing a little bit of the sense of self. And that I can understand. But to me it always seemed to be more the first than the latter. It always seemed to me that people are scared to dream big. That they think it's arrogant to come across and say, yes, I want to be famous. To be scared to admit that you deserve success on the highest level. That you actually want to be famous. And to admit that takes some sort of courage. And you have to be sort of comfortable in your own skin to admit that to people who may not be willing to accept it or judge you as superficial or anything like that. The reason I think this is because if I were to change the question around and I would say, not do you want to be famous, but do you want recognition on the highest level, to be appreciated for your talent, to be successful, I think 99% of the people would answer that question with a yes. Now, the question is, would you be willing to do that knowing the byproducts of that success? So that may be the losing of privacy and a lot of gossip around you. Would you be willing to be successful, very successful in what you do, knowing that you might be talked about, gossiped about, you might have a hard time going to the coffee shop just getting some coffee? Would you still want to be extremely successful in what you do? I still think that the majority of people would say yes to that question. I personally also see a double standard in the way that we treat fame. So a lot of times the people we look up to are famous, and when someone actually succeeds, someone from our inner circle succeeds, a lot of us get envious of that person. And I think if we don't care, why do we envy? If it's not something we want for ourselves, why do we envy someone else who succeeds? I think envy, for all the bad reputation that it has, when we envy something, I think it shows us what we actually care about, what we want to achieve. Because if we didn't care, then we wouldn't be envious. If I envy, it means I care for something, it means I want something. Now I'm an actor, so I've also noticed that a lot of people in the industry like to name drop. So even being associated with fame is better than not being associated with fame. So a lot of people will say, I've worked with Jack Nicholson, or I went to dinner with Morgan Freeman, or my best friend slept with blah 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 blah, and so forth. And I think that shows a lot about how we treat fame. That even being next to fame is better than being not associated to fame at all. I also know it from my personal experience. So I can talk about my acting experience, I could talk about the schools that I went to, I could talk for days about how I was in a show once and I created a whole character based around a meerkat. And I copied the movements of a meerkat and I inhabited it in the body and blah 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 blah. And no one gives a shit. But if I say, I was in The Honorable Woman, it was nominated for 4 Emmys, it's starring Maggie Gyllenhaal, the director is BAFTA winner Hugo Blick, I was in 2 episodes, or I'll say that I have a role coming up in an AMC production, or Kingsman: The Golden Circle with Colin Firth and Jeff Bridges, then a lot of times I'll see the reaction towards me change. And I sometimes wonder why, because I wasn't a better or worse actor before I said these facts, and they shouldn't make a difference to how I'm judged. but they do for some reason. And that to me shows, in my humble opinion, that a lot of people want to be associated with fame. All this leads me basically to the point I'm trying to make. In my opinion, I think it's okay to say that you want to be famous. It's okay to dream big. It's okay to say, I want to be famous. If that sounds too arrogant, say, I want recognition. I want people to appreciate my talents. I want to leave a legacy. I want to be remembered. Light up a sky like a flame. Fame.